Okay, today is day one of our 100 days. So glad you're joining us. We have a long and interesting and transformative adventure ahead of us. Follow along. We begin by lightly percussing the back and sides of the head. This is our wake-up routine, 15 minutes to start our day. Many layers to these exercises, which we'll talk about over time. But the basic question is, how do we prepare our body for the day, our mind? How do we care for our body from the day before? And we're tapping on the chest with loose fists. Follow along as best you can. We'll be talking a lot about the motions over time. But just copy them as you see them for now. And if anything is uncomfortable, skip it. Patting gently around the kidneys and the low back now. On the sacrum, sides of the hip bones. We started at the head, we're working down. The torso over the heart, sides of the neck, moving lymphatic fluid, waking the kidneys up, getting all the circulation of fluid in the body moving. Now over the lymph nodes in the groin. We've been asleep for the whole night. So everything in our body changes. Its focus, its circulation, and now we're waking it back up into movement. Cleaning the tissues, waking up the ligaments and muscles. Here we're percussing with a flat hand under the neck, on the big bone of the spine. Excellent for the shoulder girdle, for neck tension and pain. Widen the feet and turn the hips, not the knees, the hips. Wring out the spine a bit. You'll feel each segment of the spine, if you let it, feel it rotate, squeegee out some of those stiff muscles from the night's sleep. The arms are just dead weight that turn and pat the body. We're breathing. We're waking up muscles, we're waking up fluid circulation, we're waking up the breath as well, and the nerves. Here we pat down firmly the back of the hips and legs, up the inside, down the outside. This is firmer here. Our legs have more of a challenge with circulation because they're downstream of the heart. That's why we see so many leg problems as we age, foot problems. Now very firmly on the low belly. This is where we always return to. Our center of gravity, hormonal center. Split the hands, right hand on top of the chest, left hand stays on that center of gravity. We have to begin by breathing. Remind our lungs of how to work. We often breathe shallowly in the night. That's one reason we yawn when we wake up. And here we have 3-part breathing. One breath goes in the belly, out the belly. One breath goes in the solar plexus, the ribs, and out the solar plexus. One breath goes in the chest, filling the chest up and out, leaving the chest. Practice each part individually a couple times, and then we sync them. First one, low belly. Second one, ribs. Third, chest. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Filling from the bottom up like a glass of water. Emptying like a glass of water being drunk. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Maybe 5 breaths here, seeking to fill each compartment of the torso with breath with air, waking up the intercostal muscles, the diaphragm, which wraps all the way to the low back and all the way up under the heart. Stretching the front of the chest, the front of the throat. Filling and expanding the belly and waistline. The more you do this, the more you'll feel those movements in different areas. For now, think of growing large in the torso and shrinking down. So now we begin. We started with breathing there, so we do the lung exercise. Arms at shoulder level. The hands and arms spread, opening palm up at the outside, palm down at the inside. But this is not a shoulder movement. This is from the back, the upper back, and the chest. So we're warming up the hinge of our chest where the ribs meet the spine and the sternum. Stretching from the thumb up to the clavicle, all of the lung tissues on the outside of the body. So the surface tissues that relate to the lungs' function. And internally, we're opening the top of the lung, which we continue here, fingers interlaced, feet together, palms reaching up, the rib sides, the chest, the upper back, reach up, and stretch to each side of the ribs. Fold forward, the hands reach down, reaching the palms to the left and to the right, stretching the low back and the back of the ribs. We're freeing the rib cage. The rib cage is a cage we will live in if we don't move and mobilize it. A lot of our physical freedom comes from articulating this rib cage. Again, we stretch up, reaching the sides of the rib cage. Follow along. So this is day 1. 100 days means 100 consecutive opportunities to teach your nerves, your nervous system, your fascia and connective tissue, your circadian rhythms, what to expect from waking up, to embed these emotions, this intelligence into your body, into your mind. Once done, 100 days will embed the learning in you in a way you'll never forget. Consecutive. We miss a day, we restart. No shame, no problem with it, no compromise. Now we interlace the fingers, circle the hands over and out, stepping obliquely out with the front leg, stretching the whole side body from the thigh and ankle to the hands. Back to center, other side. Day 1, first thing in the morning, may not be initially your most vibrant time, the most fluid, graceful, athletic time. You see how that changes over the days. Hands on the back of the hips, circling the hips around. Trying to keep the head and shoulders relatively in the same spot, putting more of the motion in the hips. Tracking up, imaginary hula hoop around your equator. Front and back, left and right. Smoothing out the circle, finding any kinks, flat areas. Narrower feet now. Hands under the hip bones, small circles. The sacrum, pelvic muscles articulate the hips to rotate front, back, left, and right. Hands gather the knees together, but don't put weight on the knees. Circle the knees around. Trying to look forward, bringing the hips as low as possible. Stiffness will keep the hips high and the ankles, and stiffness in the hips. This is so building to the knees, ankles, and hips and back. We'll see this movement change a lot over the 100 days. The hips will get lower. The head will get higher. Now straight up and down. Trying to keep the chest and face looking forward. It's hard. You kick the legs out a time or two. Pause before you set the foot down. Keeping balance. And get into the lower limb, the muscles, fascia of the lower limb. I'll turn sideways so you can see. Hands behind the back, hips and chest face the front leg. Weight on the back leg. Hinge at the hips. Spine stays straight. You fold as much as your hips and leg will allow you. Switching sides. The breathing fills the belly, fills the waist, lifts you out of the stretch an inch or two, and exhaling sinks your upper body down towards your leg. Not stretching, not pushing. Filling with breath and extending through the crown of the head and the front heel. Repeat now, different arm position, grab opposite elbows. Ooh, my back's stiff this morning. Reach that elbow towards the foot. Imagine one day it very well may reach that foot. Yeah. This draws more extension into the upper back. All those tight shoulder and neck, upper back, shoulder blade muscles. Draws them out. We relax them through learning to extend and reach them, to free them. Not through pulling on them in a passive state. Engaged extension here. Weight still on the back foot, don't forget. 15 little minutes. See what 15 minutes can do to change your day. Your mind, your spirit, your body. This is more physical here. We're at the end of our movements. This can be a plank. It can be on your knees, it can be on your fingertips. It can be just a plank. You can move from this down dog shape through this sort of rolling push-up. That's a fun name in Chinese. You can think about a tiger pouncing on its prey. Follow along or stay in down dog plank. It's a strength, it's a bit of challenge, exertion. We still want ease with it, we want to breathe, but we're asking our whole body to work for us. At least 5 movements or the whole time in a plank. Step up. Our blood's moving now. Our joints are a little warm. Shake the body and breathe. Let your exhale vibrate with an audible exhale, loosening the tendons, the connective tissue, exciting little electrical charges in the fascia around the joints. And this realigns all the joints into one piece. And then we just dip our toe into post-standing Janjong this morning. A place of rest and a place of building strength. The hands float up in an embracing posture. Fingers, hands, wrists, arms, elbows are round. Chest is round, thighs are round. The knees are bent, tail is sinking. Crown of the head is lifting. We will train over the 100 days to take effort out of the shoulders into the back. Figuring out the timer situation here. Stay steady. Rest your mind in this still position. We'll explore movements inside of this stillness. But just a taste for today. Back to our neutral standing. We inhale up and sink the hands down to the belly. And now we're going to circle using the legs to sort of pump and drive the hands around the circle. Everything gathers back. Our breath originates here. Vitality originates here. We settle our effort and our focus back to this low belly, the center of gravity. Relaxing the senses in the head. Circling with hands stacked one way, clockwise, and then the other, counterclockwise. Thank you for joining us, day one. We have such an adventure ahead.